1941, Mid-Atlantic. A Flower-class corvette, 600 tons, pitched violently through towering North Atlantic swells. Suddenly, a condor appeared, emerging from low cloud barely 500 yards away. The crew swung Vickers' 5-inch machine guns and opened fire. 17 seconds. Bullets sparked off the bomber's fuselage. They did nothing. The Condor released its bombs, straddled the convoy, and climbed away untouched. 25 seconds. Vickers' rounds lacked the energy to pierce aircraft skin at range. They lacked explosive filler. In the honest assessment of Admiralty's gunnery officers, they were useless against modern aircraft. The Royal Navy faced a close-range anti-aircraft crisis. Convoys were under attack by planes that machine guns could not stop. The solution had already existed, offered to Admiralty 7 years earlier in 1934. They rejected it. A Swiss cannon of German ancestry. British ordnance officials saw no reason to adopt a foreign weapon when British designs would surely suffice. They were wrong. By 1943, that rejected Swiss cannon armed over 3,000 Royal Navy warships. It became the most fired weapon in the fleet. The irony stung. Germany had helped create it, then abandoned it. Britain copied it, mass-produced it, and used it to shoot down Luftwaffe aircraft by the hundred. This is the story of the 20mm Oerlikon. Its origins trace to 1913, when German industrialist Reinhold Becker began work on an automatic cannon at his factory in Rheinendorf near Berlin. Becker's concept was radical. Instead of locking the bolt before firing, the cartridge ignited while the bolt still traveled forward. Gas pressure first halted the bolt's forward momentum, then reversed it. This advanced primer ignition blowback mechanism eliminated complex locking entirely, producing a weapon of brutal mechanical simplicity. By 1916, the German War Ministry ordered 120 Becker-type M2 cannons. The weapon fired a 20mm cartridge at roughly 500 meters per second, cycling at 300 to 400 rounds per minute. It armed Friedrichshafen bombers and Zeppelin airships on the Western Front. Total wartime production reached 539 guns. Then came the Treaty of Versailles. Germany was forbidden from manufacturing weapons of war. The Becker cannon died in Germany, but its design survived. Patents transferred in 1919 to Semag, a Swiss engineering firm near Zurich. Semag improved the design, but went bankrupt in 1924. Everything, the patents, tooling, and workforce, was purchased by a company in the Zurich suburb of Vericon. The man who transformed this struggling tool company into the world's foremost cannon manufacturer was Emil Georg Burr, a German-born industrialist arriving in Zurich in 1924. Under Burr's direction, Oerlikon engineers developed 3 parallel weapon families using progressively larger cartridges. The breakthrough came with the S-line in 1927, pushing muzzle velocity to 830 meters per second, nearly double Becker's original. From this line came the SS model in 1938, the weapon that would ultimately arm Allied fleets worldwide. Here is where the irony sharpens. In 1934, the Imperial Japanese Navy rescued Oerlikon from near bankruptcy by licensing the cannon for aircraft use. Japan produced it as the Type 99 cannon, the primary armament of the 6M0 fighter. Japanese funding enabled the very improvements that later made the gun devastating against Japanese aircraft. Germany, meanwhile, chose its own path. Rheinmetall developed a competing 20mm design, the 2cm Flak 30, firing a more powerful cartridge. Germany licensed Oerlikon's aircraft variant, but rejected the naval gun for anti-aircraft defense. The Royal Navy's path to adoption was neither smooth nor fast. In 1934, Admiralty tested the Oerlikon and rejected it. Again, in 1937, officials turned it down. Institutional preference remained for the Vickers Quad 50 machine gun, a weapon that combat would prove hopelessly inadequate against modern aircraft. One man fought this resistance. Captain Lord Louis Mountbatten, then a relatively junior officer with no gunnery specialization, waged what records describe as a lone campaign within the Navy from 1937 to 1938 for a fair trial of the Oerlikon. He was overruled, his efforts dismissed. Then Admiral Sir Roger Backhouse, who shared Mountbatten's assessment, was appointed First Sea Lord in early 1939. Suddenly, the Oerlikon had a champion at the top. In 1938, Admiral T set two conditions for acceptance: raise the muzzle velocity and prove the weapon could be operated by non-specialist personnel, fishermen, and merchant seamen. Oerlikon responded with the SS model: 450 rounds per minute cyclic, 830 meters per second muzzle velocity, no external power, no water cooling. It could be bolted to any available patch of deck. Late 1939, Britain accepted it as the 20mm Mark I and ordered 1,500 guns. Then, France fell. Only 109 Swiss-made guns reached Britain before the supply route was cut in June 1940. All were mounted ashore for air defense. By November 1940, the Royal Navy had barely 100 Oerlikons at sea. The fleet fought the Luftwaffe with machine guns. What happened next reads like a wartime thriller. Just before France collapsed, a man named Stuart Mitchell, formerly inspector of naval ordnance contracts at the Oerlikon factory in Zurich, smuggled the complete production drawings back to Britain. Working with Commander Charles Goodhue and Commander Stephen Roskill, later author of the official naval history, The War at Sea, Mitchell established a production facility at Ruislip in West London. Manufacturing began at the end of 1940, under considerable difficulties with equipment and skilled labor. By autumn 1941, deliveries of British-produced 20mm Mark II guns began. In November 1941, HMS Duke of York was commissioned carrying 6 domestically built Oerlikons, the first Royal Navy warship to enter service with British-manufactured guns. From this starting point, production accelerated to equip the entire fleet. The weapon itself was a masterpiece of functional simplicity. Its advanced primer ignition blowback mechanism contained no locking lugs, no gas pistons, no recoiling barrel. Heavy buffer springs drove the bolt forward. The cartridge detonated during this forward travel. Gas pressure arrested and reversed the bolt. This brutal simplicity made the gun extraordinarily reliable in conditions that defeated more complex weapons: salt spray, Arctic ice, tropical humidity. Specifications: caliber 20mm, barrel length 70 calibers, 55.1 inches, rate of fire 450 rounds per minute, cyclic, practical rate 250 to 320 rounds per minute. Muzzle velocity from a new barrel 2,770 feet per second. Complete gun weight 150 pounds. It fed from a distinctive 60-round spring-driven drum magazine that emptied in roughly 7.5 seconds of continuous fire. Barrel life approximately 9,000 rounds, with changes taking 30 seconds. Ammunition included high explosive at 0.271 pounds, with tetral filler, high explosive incendiary, high explosive tracer, and armor-piercing tracer. Effective range against aircraft was approximately 1,000 yards. Maximum horizontal range 4,800 yards. Anti-aircraft ceiling 10,000 feet. The Royal Navy employed multiple mounting types. Standard single M2 pedestal mount weighed 1,146 to 680 pounds, including a half-inch splinter shield. Twin Mark V electro-hydraulic power-operated mounts with joystick controls and gyro gun sights represented premium installation at 1.228 tons. Crew requirement was 5 men, though a single sailor could fire the weapon in an emergency. Germany's 2 cm Flak 30 fired a more powerful cartridge. The 20 by 138 mm belted round achieved roughly 900 meters per second. marginally exceeding the Oerlikon, but its practical rate of fire was only 120 rounds per minute, less than half the Oerlikon's output. It fed from a 20-round box magazine, requiring constant reloading versus the Oerlikon's 60-round drum. The improved Flak 38 raised the cyclic rate to match the Oerlikon, but retained the crippling 20-round magazine. Practical sustained fire remained roughly 220 rounds per minute. The Oerlikon delivered approximately 3 times the weight of fire per minute in real combat conditions. Japan's 25mm Type 96 fired a heavier projectile, but suffered from a 15-round box magazine, limiting practical rate to 110 to 120 rounds per minute. Triple mounts produced excessive vibration, destroying accuracy. Japan developed no anti-aircraft gun larger than 25mm for the entire war, a catastrophic failure leaving its fleet defenseless. The Oerlikon's supremacy rested on 3 pillars: 60-round drum capacity 3 to 5 times, any axis equivalent, reliable blowback mechanism that worked in any climate, and the ability to be operated by minimally trained personnel. Combat proved the theory. During convoy PQ-18 in September 1942, the most heavily attacked Arctic convoy of the war, escorts and armed merchantmen carrying Oerlikons helped destroy 44 German aircraft while fighting off mass Luftwaffe torpedo attacks using the new Golden Comb formation. Heinkel 111 torpedo bombers came in at mast height across freezing Arctic seas. Oerlikon gunners on corvettes and destroyers opened fire at 600 yards, hosing explosive tracer into aircraft, flying straight and level on torpedo runs. The bombers could not evade. They had to hold course to drop. The Oerlikons punished them for it. Losses among trained German air crews were so severe that subsequent Arctic convoys never faced comparable air opposition. During Operation Pedestal in August 1942, the desperate Malta convoy, additional Oerlikons were bolted onto freighter decks. Merchant seamen, fishermen, and volunteers fired the weapon under sustained air attack. The gun that Admiral T had rejected 8 years earlier was now the last line of defense for the most critical convoy of the Mediterranean War. The Royal Canadian Navy found another use. Canadian escorts turned depressors against surfaced U-boats, strafing conning towers and pressure hulls with explosive 20mm shells at close range. By late war, capital ships bristled with the gun. HMS King George V carried 38 single Oerlikons by mid-1943, rising to 26 singles plus 6 twins. By 1944, the weapon went everywhere. A bolt could be driven into a deck. Battleships, fleet carriers, escort carriers, cruisers, destroyers, corvettes, minesweepers, landing craft, and thousands of armed merchant ships through the defensively equipped merchant ships program. Between December 1941 and September 1944, 32% of all Japanese aircraft confirmed destroyed by the United States Navy were credited to 20mm Oerlikons. During the second half of 1942, before the 40mm Bofors became widely available, that figure peaked at 48.3%. Total Allied production exceeded 180,000 guns. Britain alone placed approximately 55,000 in service by September 1945. Its quarter-pound shell could set a diving aircraft on fire, but lacked the mass to reliably destroy or deflect a kamikaze before impact. The gun crew stood exposed behind minimal splinter shields, suffering casualties from strafing and near misses. These were real weaknesses, but they do not diminish what the weapon achieved. The United States production alone reached 124,735 guns. Man-hours per gun fell from 428 to 76 as production improved. More than 1 billion rounds of 20mm ammunition were manufactured in America alone. Oerlikon service did not end in 1945. United States Navy vessels carried original guns through the Vietnam War on river patrol boats. During the Falklands War in 1982, the Royal Navy, short of modern close-in weapon systems, fitted World War II-era Oerlikon mounts to auxiliary and requisitioned vessels heading south. British auxiliary ships carried the weapon as late as 2006. More than 60 years after Stuart Mitchell smuggled those drawings from Zurich, the gun was still protecting Royal Navy ships. A German design exiled by Versailles, perfected in Switzerland, rescued from bankruptcy by Japan, rejected twice by Admiralty, championed by Mountbatten, smuggled into Britain in the back of a suitcase. The nation that helped create it abandoned it, and the nation that initially rejected it made it the most produced anti-aircraft weapon of the war. Over 180,000 guns, over 3,000 ships, 32% of all Japanese aircraft kills. The 20mm Oerlikon did not win the war at sea alone, but without it, the cost of winning would have been immeasurably higher. Every convoy that reached Murmansk, every landing craft that touched a Normandy beach, every carrier that launched strikes in the Pacific carried this weapon. Its specifications prove it. Its combat record confirms it. British willingness to adopt the best solution, regardless of national origin, and mass-produce it faster and more effectively than anyone else. That is the story of the Oerlikon. Comment below, like, and subscribe if this deep dive into naval history inspired you.